So we are going to look at the short story, The Drive-In Movies today, guys. As we read, the thing we're taking notes on, or one of the things, is what the narrator does to get what he wants. So as we go through this story, I'm going to highlight some of those things. As always, like I said, I'm not going to read the whole story to you all, but you guys can do that yourselves, and hopefully this will help you as you read it yourselves and answer the questions. So this is a pretty short story, so it shouldn't take us very long, so let's go ahead and get started. So in the first paragraph, we find out that this kid's family doesn't go to the movies very often, but they do sometimes if their mom is in a good mood on Saturdays. So on Saturday, we tried to be good. So I'm going to highlight this sentence, and I'm actually going to highlight it in yellow, not purple. What a shock. Because I'm just going to highlight the things that he does to try and get to the movies, to get what he wants. So we'll save purple for when we actually need to make notes on something. So on one Saturday, he decides to be extra good. He made her breakfast and coffee. So we're going to highlight this little bit right here. That's one thing that he does for her to help. He makes her breakfast and coffee. Paragraph 3, then he does some more work. He weeds the flower bed. A trowel is like a type of shovel. It's used to work in gardens. So he's getting all sweaty and dirty. His knees hurt from kneeling. This is kind of a boring task. Keep going. In paragraph 4, he then decides to mow the lawn, so he's done a lot so far. His siblings also aren't really helping. It says in paragraph 5, they're looking out the window, and then his brother Rick says, "You missed some over there." So we're going to keep going. Paragraph 6, we find out that a bee stings him. He's about to cry, and he sees his mom looking, so he decides he's not gonna, and fixes it himself so he can keep working. We're going to pause at paragraph 7 for a second. So where it says, "Hobbling, I returned to the flower bed where I pulled more stringers and again played with the dog." So hobbling, which is something you do when you have been hurt. We're going to highlight this part because this is kind of interesting, that he keeps on doing these chores that he's not required to do. No one's requiring him to do this, but he doesn't have to do because of how badly he wants to go to the movies. So this shows us how much he values going to the movies. So he gives us some more things that he does. He swept the front steps, took out the garbage, cleaned the lint filter to the dryer, plucked hair from the industrial wash basin in the garage. Oops, I can't highlight the right pieces of the sentence. Hosed off the patio, smashed 3 snails sucking paint from the house, tied a bundle of newspaper, put away toys. And then when he sees that it's not even lunchtime yet and almost everything is finished, he starts waxing the car. So I'm going to put this part right here. This is something he does, so we're going to put it in yellow. But we're also going to highlight this little section right here. There's a lot of highlights here. Sorry, guys. So I want to make a note about this. Everything was almost done. So he has worked crazy hard. Come on, work. He's worked super hard and gotten all the normal chores done, and decides to do something extra in order to earn the movies. So waxing the car isn't like one of these other chores in yellow that's just a normal thing that needs to be done. Waxing the car is like an extra job that he's doing to try and get his mom to take him to the movies. So again, it's showing us how much he values going to the movies. It also points out, okay, so here's a new thing that he's doing. And it looks like we're going to spend more time on waxing the car. So it might be important. Whatever happens with waxing the car is significant to the plot because the author kind of makes a point of it. So that's paragraph 7. We're going to move right along. His brother and sister join him. They're sucking on Kool-Aid cubes, so like frozen Kool-Aid. His arms hurt from buffing, from rubbing the wax into the car, but it looks good, and he's proud of the work. The mother comes out, and she says, pretty good. She thinks they're doing a good job. So then they begin to wax the paint. They're applying it in wide circles. They're trying to hurry. They run out of wax, and they keep on going. And then in paragraph 11 it says, we got scared when we noticed that the gym sock was now blue. The paint was coming off. So this is our first hint that something may not be going entirely right here. This is not going quite how they want it to go. So they realize they may have made a mistake. They only get it halfway done, but it's better than nothing, so they go inside to lunch, and then they come back outside to see the car. And the waxed side of the car is foggy white. We took a rag and began to polish vigorously. So let's look at the definition for vigorously so everyone can see it. Done with force and energy. So like when you're scrubbing it super, super, super hard. And they're nearly in tears, but the fog wouldn't come off. I blamed Rick and he blamed me. Deborah, their sister, stood at the window, doesn't want to get involved. She's like, I am not touching this. I am not getting in trouble for this. So now not only can they go to the movies, but they're pretty sure their mom is going to snap a branch from the plum tree and chase them around the yard. So they're going to get in trouble. So we're going to highlight this part. They now are expecting to not only not get what they want, but also to be punished for ruining the car. But it says, Mom came out and looked at us with hands on her aproned hips. Finally, she said, you boys worked so hard. She turned on the garden hose and washed the car. That night, we did go to the drive-in. So they get exactly the opposite of what they thought. She says, you worked so hard. I'm going to highlight this part, and I'm going to highlight this part. That night, we did go to the drive-in. And I'm going to put a little note on this part right here. So instead of being angry that they messed up the car, their mom she seems kind of proud, right? Proud or pleased at all their hard work and rewards them by taking them to the movies. But we see in the last paragraph that the narrator isn't even able to stay awake to enjoy the movie. So he worked so hard, he isn't even able to stay awake and enjoy the movie. But if you look at this sentence with the rest of the story, it doesn't seem too disappointed. He still seems to be satisfied with his work and with what he's done. So that's actually the end of the story. I told you guys this one was short. So we'll go back and summarize real quick everything that we have talked about. So we were taking notes on what the narrator does to get what he wants. We see that he and his siblings try to be good. He makes his mom breakfast, he weeds the flower bed, he mows the lawn, does lots of other tasks. He continues doing all these chores that nobody asked him to do, even though he got stung by a bee on his foot. He even takes on like an extra job that isn't really necessary to do in the hopes that he'll please his mom and get her to take him to the movies. His siblings join in. They continue working on the car. Then they realize that they may have made a mistake because now they're kind of ruining the car. The paint is coming off, and that might be a problem. But they're afraid that they're going to get punished. Not only are they not going to go to the movies, they think, but they're going to get punished for messing up the car. But they are surprised when their mom comes out and is just pleased with their hard work and takes them to the movie theater, to the drive-in movie, as a reward for their work. And the narrator worked so hard and exhausted himself that he actually ends up falling asleep during the movie that he wanted to go to. So that is the end of the drive-in movies. That's the end of the story. Guys, I'm not getting any better at making these videos. I'm so sorry. That is the last of these videos probably. And I hope you guys enjoyed them. I hope they were helpful. And I will talk to you guys later.